Middle rod, middle rod. Well, you join me here at Le Prunay on the Carcassonne complex for a week's fishing, bit of a holiday, and what a great way to start with a bend in the rod. So we're going to try and get this fish in, and I'm going to give you some top tips on travelling to Europe to come fishing, including bait, travel, clothing, even choosing the lake. Stick around, there's some top tips coming. Yes, in you pop. Yes. Oh, that's a good one. Well, check that out. Just under £40, an amazing French fish to get underway. I'm going to go through some top tips for you now on how to make your European adventures simply amazing. When coming out to Europe, travel and travel planning is really important. There's a couple of rules in Europe you need to follow as well, and you can grab this kit from Amazon or online. You need to have a warning triangle, you need the headlight deflectors if you're driving in the dark, you also need a high-vis jacket for each passenger, and you need a spare set of bulbs. That's an essential part of legal requirement when you come to Europe, but beyond that, a couple of top tips really to get you there. First of all, tunnel or ferry. They're both the same sort of money, but one gets you there a lot quicker than the other. Obviously, if it's middle of winter, I would recommend a tunnel because the ferry could be quite up and downy. But other than that, they're both about the same, but the ferry does take longer. Jump online and you can look up the cheapest price for your crossing time. Allow yourself plenty of time to get from home to the tunnel or to the ferry port, because the M25 is, as always, completely unpredictable. Once you get into France, there are lots of fuel stations along the way, but there are lots of toll roads. To get through the tolls requires you to take a ticket from the passenger side of your car and then pay for it with a credit or debit card. So if you're traveling alone, it might be worth looking at the tag system, which goes in your windscreen and automatically opens the toll booth. Or if you're traveling with a friend, make sure they're awake at the toll booth to put the ticket in and make a payment. Beyond that, the toll roads, they are expensive, but they save you a lot of travel on side streets through villages. Like any long distance trip, it's important to make sure your car or your van's in good health, check your tyre pressures, make sure the spare tyre is not flat as well. On top of that, make sure that you're covered for European breakdown assistance and that you've got some European travel insurance. No longer in the EU means we're no longer covered, so you have a separate insurance for that. If you're going to a lake which is deep into Europe and involves a lot of driving, consider booking a hotel. There's some really cheap hotels along the way, easy to stay in, nice and cost effective, and it means you're not driving tired and you can arrive at the lake fresh as a daisy. The most important thing of all, don't forget your passport. Well, what would you know? Middle of the day, I think it's probably just about lunchtime actually, and got a fish on. Very far margin, we kept seeing these fish showing yesterday. Didn't really get a rod onto it until early, just before lunch actually, about an hour or so ago. And we're into a fish. In you pop. There you go. Well, take a look at that. Gorgeous scaly French fish. £25 too, and a really good start. Really happy with that. Awesome looking fish as well. So let's pop it back in the hope that some of his big brothers are gonna come along. Oh, good start. Well, the weather in general and in Europe can always be unpredictable. 1 minute, beautiful sunshine, t-shirt and shorts. Next minute, hacking down with rain, soaked through. Make sure when you come away, you bring lots of clothing to cover the entire week. Bring more than you need. Plenty of socks, because you're always running around in your socks and getting those wet. a good set of waterproofs, ideally 2 sets so you can keep cycling those around, and of course lots of warm clothing. Once you get wet, it's hard to get warm. Aside from clothing, ensure you bring a set of waders, ideally chest waders, so that should you need to get in to photograph the fish or to land the fish, you're not going to get yourself wet. Remember with waders to take a bank stick with you just to make sure you know how deep the water is before you get in it. Beyond that, a couple of pairs of trainers and some easy on, easy off shoes like bivvy slippers or Crocs or something similar, just so that as you jump out of your bed chair, straight into a pair of slippers or a pair of shoes, and off you go to get your rods. As with all fishing, when you're outdoors for long periods of time, even when you think it's not sunny, you can still actually get a lot of sun on you. So make sure you bring some sunblock, some factor 50 or something, just to protect your skin from the sun. And then the final top tip, get yourself an umbrella. Even a golfing umbrella is perfect for when you're walking to the shower block, when you're stood watching your mate land a PB. Choosing what bait to take with you starts really with the fishery. Do some background on it and find out about nuisance fish, about baits that work really well, baits that are very, very popular, and that will give you a good head start in choosing your bait. Moving on from there, look at picking up 2 different types of boilie, one sweet and one savoury. Mix them together when you get to the lake, and that way you're covering both bases from the get-go. If you are facing poisson chat, crayfish and even catfish, it's worth considering how that might affect your bait choices. Particle is a great choice, hemp, maize and, rules permitting, tiger nuts. When it comes to things like pellets, be cautious if there's lots of catfish, as oily pellet generally attracts the catfish. And then when it comes to hook bait options, you've added some more. You could use some of those particles as hook baits, or indeed fake plastic versions, again, rules permitting, of those hook baits. Aside from that, bring a good selection of hook baits, some soft, some hard, some pop-ups, some wafters, some bottom baits. So you've got a few different choices. Don't bring thousands, but bring enough to give you a good variety to get yourself off to a great start. Looking specifically at boilie fishing, freezer baits or shelf life baits are the option. Freezer baits are fantastic, but they're hard to keep for a week in the summertime particularly, or if your venue hasn't got any freezers. Shelf life bait can be a brilliant option, and these days shelf life bait is fantastic. So you can bring more than you need, you can take it home afterwards, you aren't wasting your money. Go for a couple of different sizes. You haven't got to go 24 millers the whole way through. You can just have a mix of 15s, 16s, 18s and 22s, and that's a good combination to keep those fish feeding. Maybe get a couple of kilos of bigger baits if you feel that the water requires it. Maybe if there's lots of small fish in there, you might want some 24 millers. But overall, what you normally buy on the shelf and tackle shop is absolutely perfect. If you plan on fishing with 3 rods for 7 nights, my ballpark number is about 5 kilos of bait per day. That's the boilie and maybe a couple of kilos of particles. That should give you more than enough to get you through the week catching plenty of fish. Obviously some fishes require a lot more bait, but as a good starting point, 5 kilo a day. Well, getting that baiting strategy right at the beginning of the week really does pay dividends, and it seems you've done quite well here. Resting the swim last night and just getting the rods out maybe an hour and a half ago has proved a good plan, and we're attached to a carpy carp. So let's see how this one pans out. Come on. In your pop. There we are. Another one. Well, check that one out. Just an hour after you put the rods back out, after resting the swim, and this is the result. Brilliant. Let's try and catch another one. Yes! Quite often when coming abroad, people feel they have to go out and buy a whole load of European heavy-duty fishing tackle. That is not necessarily the case at all. Look at the lake you're fishing and make sure you bring suitable tackle for the lake. For example, if you're fishing from maybe a boat maybe you're dropping rigs from a boat or landing fish in a boat, then 10-foot rods and braided mainline is ideal, rules permitting. You could use 12-foot rods, but a bit more cumbersome in the boat. If you're fishing from the bank, 12-foot 3.5 to 3 3/4 pound rods with a nice flat line, 0.37 is a good middle ground, or a tapered mainline if fishing a bit further is ideal. If it's extreme range fishing and you're having to throw a long way, then maybe look at 13-foot long range rods, big pit reels and tapered mainline. Great combination for fishing at extreme range. Moving on to the end tackle, all your confident rigs that you use on a day-to-day basis are perfect for fishing in Europe. The only consideration might be to go maybe up a hook size from maybe a 6 to a 4, maybe a thicker wire gauge on that hook. Make sure you bring with you plenty of hooks, plenty of tubing, plenty of leg clips and all the bits and pieces that you'll get through as you start smashing it up and catching loads of fish. Thinking about leads is also quite important on these European trips. Sometimes you're faced with large expanses of water with big winds and undertows. In this situation, just think about going slightly heavier on the leads, maybe going from 3s to 3.5s or 4.5 ounce leads. If you're dropping from a bait boat or dropping from a rowing boat, you can go with the flat leads or the gripper style leads, and these will not only be a great way to wrap some bait around the lead in the way of a paste, but also they'll hold bottom really well, and you can go up to 5, 6 and even 7 ounce leads in those cases, where realistically at long range from a boat, the fish is going to get hooked by the lead, drop the lead and you're into a fish. So think about your lead choices, and of course, bring plenty of them, especially if you're dropping the lead. And one more thing, you're going to be carving it up with loads of carp, which means you're going to run out of batteries in your bite alarms, so bring plenty of those. So as I mentioned, you don't need to change all your rigs to suit European fishing. Use what you're confident in, but maybe just step it up a little bit, slightly stronger hook links, slightly bigger hooks or stronger gauge wire. Other than that, stick to what you're confident with. Yes, come on. Oh, in you pop, come on. Oh, that's a good looking fish. Yes, 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 yes. Well, check that out, £34.8, and that's only half the size of the big ones in here. It's a baby really, but £34.8, I am happy. Let's pop it back, get the rod back out and try and catch another one. Yes. Well, I've been visiting Europe for more than 30 years now, and over that time I've fished all kinds of venues, from wild expanses to commercial venues with all things provided. Along the journey, I've discovered some items of tackle and bits and pieces that are well worth bringing with you. If you're coming to a drive and survive week where you've got to do all your own catering, then keeping your food nice and cool is essential. Get a sturdy cool box or battery powered fridge for all of your stuff needs to be kept chilled. For anything else, try and bring plastic boxes for food or huge containers as opposed to bags. Rodents are very good at eating through fabric, and a lot of these venues do have mice and rats running around. Most venues include a tap to fill up your water containers, but this is really for just cooking with and for boiling. Try not to drink the tap water. Often it's pumped out of the lake and filtered. Local shops will sell bottled water by the gallon, and it's super cheap in Europe. One thing I have discovered in Europe is trying to find gas canisters that fit onto UK cooking equipment is a challenge. So make sure you pack a couple of spare cans of gas just in case you run out. Moving on to power, often on these week-long sessions you're going to need a lot of it, whether it's bait boats, outboard motors, your mobile phone, your laptop, your tablet, your headlamps. There's all kinds of things that need to be charged. Get yourself a good solid battery system. Ideally, a couple of batteries more so than one big battery means that you can have one running while you charge another. A lot of these fisheries have power available where you can go and plug your bits and pieces in, normally in a shower block, and charge your batteries up. If that's not the case, then solar chargers can be worth looking at. And there's lots to choose from the smallest of solar panels that's ideal for charging your phone to a huge solar panel that can realistically charge a car battery in a day or two. When it comes to large power sources like leisure batteries, there's a couple of stables. You can either go for a leisure battery, which is essentially a big battery with a positive and negative on the top of it, and you connect on it what you will, or you can buy all-in-one units now that include things like an inverter and USB ports for your devices. And lastly, and do not hate on me in the comments for this, but bring a rubber mallet. It's not my favourite thing by a long stretch, but out here in Europe you may come across really hard swims full of gravel and chip-ins and that kind of thing, and they're an absolute swine to get your pegs in, bank sticks in. Bring a mallet, you're here for a week, yes the fish will spook off of it, but they'll soon be back when you fill it in with some bait. And finally, and probably most importantly, is choosing a venue that suits you and your style of angling. Whether you're coming with a friend or coming as a group, find a lake that suits what you want out of your fishing. Whether it's boat fishing, whether it's fishing in snaggy lakes or loads of islands and trees, or a commercial fishery that's nice and flat, easy to set up on, and easy fishing. Whatever you're looking for, to find these fisheries, look on the internet. Google is your friend. Have a good Google around and read the reviews. There's also some brilliant Facebook groups like Trusted Lakes France, where you'll find French lakes being recommended by actual anglers that have actually been to those venues that have got solid reviews. Once you've found somewhere, get together with the guys you're going to go with, make sure everyone's happy, and that will get you off to a fantastic start. If traveling to Europe is something you want to give a go of on your own or with a friend or in a small group, and you're not sure where you want to go, or you'd like to be involved in a more organised trip, there's lots to choose from. I run trips out to Europe on a regular basis, and if you'd like to join my WhatsApp group, just simply drop me a DM and you can come along on one of our future trips. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I wish you all the best for your European adventures, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, love a bit of French fishing.